Hello, welcome to this presentation. I'm Andrew Methven, the founder and creator of Real-Time Mandarin, and this is a quick overview, a sneak peek of the RTM Beginner Bootcamp. This is a new course that we're launching. The pilot is happening in November, starting on the 1st of November, and this is a new course. It's the first time I'm doing it. Obviously, it's based on my long period of time learning Chinese. I've been learning Chinese for around 23 years, a bit more than that. I've built Real-Time Mandarin, which is the only learning platform for Mandarin that actually uses real news as it's happening as the educational resource. I've built that for advanced learners. It began actually as my tool, so I used it. It was my way to keep my Chinese from getting rusty during COVID. It expanded from there. It started with advanced. It went into helping fluent but rusty learners, even heritage learners, improve their Chinese. And then as it grew, we added new bits on based on feedback and what people wanted. So we now have an intermediate level content program. We also have a speaking program as well. And this is all based around what people have asked us to create. And this is why we have now launched this new beginner bootcamp, because more and more people over the last year, particularly over the last couple of months, have been asking me if I can create RTM content for beginners. So that's exactly what this is. This is a pilot, so this is going to be a bit rough and ready. I'm building it as I go. This is not an all singing, all dancing, bells and whistles, fancy course site with loads of different features and all that. It's going to be a process as I build this, but because of that, the people that join in this pilot will get loads of attention from me. You'll obviously be part of building something really cool. And also through the process, I'm looking for you to give me feedback. So that means there'll be lots of engagement as I build it, as I iterate it, and also as you participate through the program. So that's the background as to why I've created it. Now, what is it? So it is an immersive experience for learners at a beginner level in their Mandarin learning journey. It's going to be based on real news. I'm basically drawing from my RTM content on a weekly basis, but it's redesigned for a beginner level learner. Different to the RTM membership program, which is self-paced. This is delivered in a community format, so there's much more engagement, there's much more structure and accountability. In terms of what's included, so it starts on November the 1st, Saturday, runs for 30 days through the month of November. Through those weeks, there is one article in Chinese per week, one news article in Chinese per week, so 4 in total. The length is 100 to 120 characters long. There are 6 live sessions through the month too, so a launch one on the 1st and then every Sunday through the month of November. Outside of the live sessions, there are daily exercises and practice questions. There'll be a lot of engagement in the community site to keep you accountable and give you structure. And of course, you'll be getting personalized input and support from me. Okay, in terms of how it will help you, this is going to help address all of the key challenges that learners at the beginner stage have in their part of their journey. So as I built this, I spoke to a lot of learners in that stage of their learning experience, and the kind of things that came up again and again were issues around getting consistent exposure and meaningful practice. This does exactly that. Challenges around recognizing characters in context and not relying on pinyin. This does that as well, because you're getting an immersive experience every week. You're getting Chinese language articles through the process. You're seeing the characters in context. You're learning in context as well. And that will slowly help you build your ability to recognize characters in a news article, not in an app. Of course, this is, in my view, the content is fantastic. It's engaging, it's relevant, it's interesting, and also it's recent. In fact, it's totally on trend because we're looking at stories happening as they're happening in the Chinese speaking world. Importantly, this will help you build a learning habit. So every day you will engage with this, even if it's just 10 minutes. 10 to 20 minutes, I advise, is the ideal amount of time to use. And that, in order to help you do that, I'll be keeping you accountable, and also you'll be part of a group of learners just like you, which again can be very motivating and give you an extra level of accountability to show up every day. And that's because this is a community-based platform, as I said. Quick thing on how it works. So there's 3 parts to this. First of all, the whole concept is around context. So over the years, I've noticed that context is the key to really getting your head around learning to read Chinese, learning Chinese characters. So what does that actually mean? We use 5 types of context in this course. The first is situational, so we're linking it to real news, events in the real world. When I first started learning Chinese, I noticed actually that a lot of the things that I learnt, the words and phrases that I learnt, I linked them to things where I was in the real world, in a restaurant or on a train or something. And linking it to news stories has exactly the same effect. Cultural context, so the stories that we discuss, there is a big cultural context piece behind that. Of course, I explained that to you in English, so you've got a deeper understanding of the article. You're not just reading Chinese for the sake of it. You're reading Chinese to learn about China and what's happening in China. So you're getting a deeper connectivity with that topic through cultural relevance and context. Linguistic context is about learning characters in vocab. So if you learn a character on its own, very hard. If you learn a character in the context of a word or a phrase, it's much easier. And so we teach you characters within the context of vocab. Visual context is about radicals, the building blocks of Chinese characters. We help you reference the radicals in the characters, which makes a much stronger visual connection with them. And through the process, I'll be flagging important radicals in the characters that we are learning and that I'm immersing you in through the process. And lastly, functional. So what does the character do within the context of the language itself? I think this bit is always missing from language teaching, because as language learners, we don't necessarily understand the mechanics of language, because in our own language, we don't have to. So I categorize characters in terms of what they do within the language, and I'll come to that in a sec. Okay, the next part is it's immersive, and I use a flipped classroom approach. This is based on the experience of our Speaking Sprints membership, which uses the flipped classroom approach. So basically you get all the content before the live sessions, so you have time to understand it, read it, get familiar with it. And so then when you come to the sessions, you've already got a bit of a foundation, and then we can have a much more constructive discussion and a workshop about the content. Then the process through each week is first you understand, so I help you understand it. During the live sessions, I give you the context in English, so you can understand the context. We'll then read it live on the calls, as well as you reading it in your own time. And then in your own time, you'll then study the learning part, so you'll study the article. Depending on how many characters you know already, maybe you know a few, but the idea is to be learning several characters a day within vocab. I'll also be giving you some basic grammar structures as well. And then there's practice exercises through the week around grammar, vocab, and also practice sentences as well. And then lastly, apply. So the idea is that as you learn, you'll also be sharing within the community as well. And so that again gives you that accountability and that little bit of pressure to turn up and do the tasks every day. In terms of how I've put this together, this is based on my own database of characters. So I analysed my entire archive over the last 5 years. I came up with the 300 highest frequency characters from my archive. That's based on real news that we've been creating over the last 5 years. And just to give you a guideline, so those 300 characters is basically pretty much all of HSK1 and around half of HSK2, and then a scattering of characters from HSK3 and 4. The idea here is for you not to learn all these characters during the process, but for you to be immersed in them, especially the high frequency functional ones around grammar and language structure. That is the key to me. And the idea is that you're immersed, you get lots of contact with the language through the process, and so then you get better and better at learning and remembering them, but also understanding that certain characters have lots of different meanings in different contexts. Just to give you an idea of how I break the characters down. So think of this as your foundation. So with those 300 characters, I've divided them into 3 layers. The first layer is structural, so grammar, structural characters. So the key one there is the core characters, things that have loads of different meanings depending on the context. These are the core characters that you need to know. Next is particles. So as you know, in Chinese, the meanings can be changed by adding things onto the end of words or sentences. Those are particles. We look at those a lot in the process. And then there are other grammatical things like connectors, negatives, modifiers, and determiners, and of course numbers. The next layer is substance. So going from the foundation of basically the grammatical structure of the language, you then got the substance, so the who, what, when, where, how. So that's actors, actions, coordinates, where are you, where, place coordinates, quantities, and also time. And then the last part, the next layer, is story. So that's things that you use to describe stuff, and thematic language. So I think this is really important because this gives you this extra layer of context, which I think is often missing from teaching Chinese, which is you're learning characters not only in the context of story, the meaning, but you're also understanding how that works in the structure of the language as well. Why is this different? Well, I think hopefully you've seen already there's a lot of reasons why it's different based on what I just said. But just to recap, this is not an app, this is not a textbook, this is not a class. This is an intensive, immersive experience based on real news, using context as the main tool. It's delivered in a community setting, so you get lots of accountability, you get direct feedback and input from me as well. No app or textbook can do that. Who is this for? As it says on the tin, this is for beginners. So if you describe yourself as a beginner, if you're at HSK1, if you know a few characters, maybe 20, 30, 40 characters already, that's great. I think the sweet spot here is probably 40 to 50 characters you already have, some knowledge of, up to 150, 200 characters. But if you're a complete beginner with 0 characters, this will also help you because it's giving you the immersion. It's also giving you the structure as well. Not only the characters, but also the structure of how I teach it. The challenges that you have are that you're stuck for time, you can't make time, you can't get motivated, you can't find engaging materials at your level, and you still struggle to recognize characters in context without using pinyin. This helps you address all of those issues. Last one in terms of when it happens. So as I said, there are 6 live sessions in total in the month of November. They happen at 2 p.m. UK time. The first one is on Saturday the 1st. The other 5 sessions are on Sundays in November, also at 2 p.m. If you can't attend live, don't worry. The sessions will be published on the course site pretty much straight away. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the course and what it does, how it works, who it's for, why it's different. Now I'm going to give you just a quick glimpse of what it will actually look like when you enter. As I said, I'm still building this, so the course site is not yet live. When you join, you will get a confirmation. You'll fill out a short onboarding survey, and then I will send you an invite to join the course site early next week. So probably around Tuesday time. But this gives you an idea of what the course site will look like. This is our membership site for the Speaking Sprints membership. And basically, I'm using the same structure and the same platform. The platform is called Circle. It's very good. There is a free app to download, or you can use it on desktop. And basically, everything is organized through this menu here. So you get a calendar. So all of the sessions will be in the calendar. You can RSVP and confirm with one click, and that will go automatically into your diary. When you join, you'll start here. You'll introduce yourself. There are some regular announcements which will be coming up through the process. That will be in there. And then there's a member directory too. So the idea is you can connect with people within the course and maybe even connect with them offline as well. Then there are daily updates, the pre-reads. So the content that we consume during the live sessions, that will be published here in pre-reads. You'll then have word lists and any kind of exercises and everything like that. That will all have its own special space here. And then there's the opportunity to ask questions too. Then down here, there will be the lessons. So the lessons are also in Circle. Here's an example of one. So this is our example based on one of our recent articles about the chicken cutlet brother, 鸡排哥. So as you can see, the article length is very short. It's around 100, 120 characters long. I'm drawing from those key 300 characters. There is, of course, a few extra ones in there, as always, because that's the thematic part of it. But basically, 90% of the characters are from my 300 character database. You get simplified and also you get traditional. You then get the article with pinyin as well. Then I give you a list of the characters included, split out into my structure, the 3 layers, so structure, substance and story. And then you get a list of vocab, which is around 15 vocabs per week. And then you'll be learning the characters that are in this vocab here. So you won't be learning all these characters, but you'll be exposed to them. And obviously, as we talk through it in the live sessions, I can answer any questions about any specific characters. And I'll also highlight the things that are important for a language learner at your stage as well. Next part is character practice. This is a work in progress. This is not the final one of how it will look like, but you will get character flashcards every week, and it will look something like this. It's going to be better than this. This is like a draft, but you'll get a pack of flashcards every week. You can practice to write them out if you want. I personally think a little bit of writing is helpful, not for the sake of writing, but for the sake of just consolidating in your mind, and it gives you an extra sensory input in terms of learning the characters. So you get character practice, you get grammar practice. So there is simple grammar in each article. This just highlights that. I'll also talk about this in the live sessions as well. So there are certain structures that when I was at the beginner level, some things just took ages to get my head around. So for example, this one, lian, do or yeah, that was, for some reason, that just took me ages to get my head around, because the way it's structured is just so different to English. So I'll be talking about these in the live sessions, and then you'll be getting exercises through the week as well. And then there is short dialogue and some questions. And of course, you do get the answers as well, although I won't publish those until the end of the week. This is based on our intermediate level content. I think this will probably evolve through the process, but this is basically this is my starting point, and then we'll see how things go. But the idea is that you get the lesson with all the content, and then you get a load of different exercises and different ways to engage with it through the week. You'll get daily exercises that are published on the course site. You'll be able to engage on the course site too. So that is a quick overview of the RTM Beginner Bootcamp. I hope that's been helpful. I hope you'll join us. It's going to be a fantastic experience, and one that I think will be transformative if you are stuck at the beginner level and you're just finding it hard to know where to start. This will give you a great starting point, and it will really help you build a strong foundation to then build from after the course. And of course, lastly, you do get lifetime access to all these materials, so you can always come back to them. Okay, thanks everybody, and hopefully see you very soon in the Beginner Bootcamp.